It's time to steady your nerves, for we are returning to the insanity that is Call of Cthulhu. So, some of you may have seen the previous video where I was painting up the adventurers. This time it's a snake monster. So, yeah, get ready, grab your guns and let's get into it. So I started off, this miniature actually I 3D printed, as I did with the adventurers before, so they're all 3D printed. Started off with a black spray paint, and then I used ice white from Game Colour to do a zenithal highlighting across the whole miniature. I went quite hard with this because the colours I'm going to be using later on are lighter, and black is quite stark, so yeah, I would say if you're doing a large figure, go slightly heavy on the highlighting rather than going light. But this was one of the first miniatures I actually 3D printed, and to be honest, I am very impressed by the detail that came out on it. Just in case anyone's wondering, the rock underneath is actually a garden rock. I didn't 3D print that. I just printed the snake and stuck it onto a stone. But then I could paint the whole thing up. But yeah, as I said, very impressed with the level of detail on the printer. So I would say it's very comparable to the sort of things you buy from your regular manufacturers. So if you haven't got one yet, definitely consider it. So next up, I used German Camo Bright Green from Model Colour, and that's going to be the main base colour for the green. And it's going to be a two-tone, so the belly is going to be a pale, sort of a creamier colour, and then the back of it is going to be the green itself. Kind of base it off of a lot of snakes and things that you see in the wild. But yeah, if you haven't played Call of Cthulhu, it's very fun. You don't need miniatures, but, well, hey, I'm a wargamer, I like my miniatures, so I find miniatures just help with the immersion. But equally you can play Theatre of the Mind, which can work if you've got a good imagination also. Yeah, whichever way works for you. But yeah, it's a role-playing game, so you have your character sheet, you have lots of different attributes on there, strength, height, speed, insanity. Cool, there's dozens and dozens, and then you've got the sort of skills which range from being able to read, I don't know, Latin, or read Egyptian hieroglyphs, speak in Russian, firearms control, driving, mechanical skills, flying, sailing, you name it, there's a skill there for it. So it's very interesting. I'll just quickly take a pause. So now the base colour, we're using Bone White from Game Colour. And again, I'm doing both of these coats kind of in a bit of a dry brushing fashion. It's not heavy wet paint, I am just dry brushing across. But yeah, the premise of the game is that you are an adventurer of some description. Usually you're a private investigator or something along those lines, and something has happened in the town and you've just got to go and investigate it. I guess investigator is actually the correct word rather than investigator. Someone's died, a house has burnt down, someone's been kidnapped, and you've been hired to go and try and figure out what's going wrong. For the knives here, we're using silver from Game Colour. It's probably one of my favourite silvers, or metal colours, because it actually flows really nicely and it doesn't get too gloopy. But anyway, as you go, you start off just sort of as a normal person. You don't have superpowers for the most part. You might be able to get some spells at a later date, but for the most part you're just a normal person who, if you get shot in the head, you die immediately. Yeah, you don't have hundreds and hundreds of hit points. Most people have about 10, and a gunshot can take anywhere from about 8 to 20, depending on where you get hit, so it is a very dangerous game for your character. And more often than not, you don't die, you just go insane because your mind just cannot take in what it is witnessing. These eldritch horrors that are coming through. Yeah, people go insane and just run away, or go insane and just crumple up on the floor, and then usually get killed as well. But yeah, it's very fun. So then I'm using bright bronze here for the rings / jewellery around the wrists of the snake. and again it's a nice colour, flows nicely. I've never had any problems with it. So at this stage we're just doing all of the sort of the base colours, and then we will give it a wash in a little while, and then we'll go back over and highlight towards the end. Yeah, it's basically the same method that I use with everything that I paint. Okay, so now we've done our dark wash, and now we're going back for our highlighting. So we're using the same German cam bright green, and literally this time it's a lighter dry brushing rather than before where we went heavy. Now it's just literally dry brushing to pick out the highlights. So yeah, take off as much paint as you can from the brush, and if you have to do a few extra goes over, that's fine. You don't want to go too heavy at this stage. So you may have noticed at this stage I haven't done the tongue yet, or the eyes. They're details that I do right at the end. And again for the belly, bone white from Game Colour. Again, very light dry brushing just to pick out the details. And also I mixed a little bit of the green in with it just so that I could merge the edges, so that's not such a stark green to sort of cream. It's nice blending in between, which dry brushing does do quite nicely. And then we get the crimson red from System 3, which I use for the tongue and the eyes. And then I also went back in and added a little bit of white to it just to do a little bit of highlighting on the tongue. Now I have seen some people use, I think it's Yoo-hoo glue, just to kind of make sort of a salivary drool on their miniatures. I did consider it, but I was thinking about snakes, and I haven't really seen documentaries or photos where they have a lot of saliva or drool coming out of their mouths, so I didn't do it on this miniature, but it is something I do want to try in the future. But there we go. I think it actually came out very nicely. It's the first larger scale miniature. I think it's about 32 mils that I've done in quite a while, and I'm happy with the outcome. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope that we've inspired you to become an investigator and try Call of Cthulhu for a game or two. See if you can survive, or whether you go insane and end up in the insane asylum. But yeah, it's definitely a fun game, and it was fun painting the miniature, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and please leave some comments down below. Till next time, take care.